Welcome to the third panel in our Cyber Trends 2023 series. I'm Lisa Easterly, President and CEO of Cyber Center of Excellence, or CCOE. We are a San Diego-based nonprofit that mobilizes businesses, academia, government to grow the regional cyber economy and create a more secure digital community for all. Well, cybersecurity is now everyone's business. The FEI reports a 300% increase in cybercrimes across all industries since the pandemic began, with the global cost of a data breach climbing over $4.4 million. More than half of these costly attacks are aimed at small and medium-sized businesses, and that's our region's economic engine. So now pair that with the global shortage of cyber professionals to thwart these attacks to the tune of about 660,000 openings in the US, about 9,000 here in San Diego, and it becomes mission critical to address the workforce gap. Well, the good news is San Diego's leading the charge with more than 870 cyber firms and the Navy's Information Warfare Systems Command. This cluster accounts for more than 24,000 jobs and has a total economic impact of $3.5 billion annually. That's equivalent to hosting 9 Super Bowls. This collaborative ecosystem is developing new technology, defenses, and the cyber warriors to combat this ever-evolving threat landscape. So let's tap into this robust expertise with our esteemed panel today to talk about the evolving cybersecurity risk, solutions, as well as workforce needs. So it's my pleasure to welcome our panel. Asaf, why don't we start with you and have you give an introduction?
Thank you, Lisa, and glad to be here. So my name is Asaf Ashkenazi. I'm the CEO of Verimatix, and Verimatix is a public company that has been in the market for 25 years. So we are not new to cybersecurity, or I think when we started, it was just called security. We have offices around the world, but our biggest office, and this is where I am, is here in San Diego. So a big part of us is rooted in San Diego. We are providing we have two business lines. One is for cybersecurity, for protecting mobile apps and connection to mobile consumers. And the other one is anti-piracy for Hollywood and big media companies. I think we have known customers from the telco industry, for example, Spectrum and Deutsche Telecoms and Reliance Jio in India. In the auto, Hyundai is a customer of ours. For fintech, we have Chase, Deutsche Bank, and from health, we have CVS. So it's quite a diverse kind of customer that we have. And again, thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, we're delighted to have you. Gerry, why don't we pass the mic to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on this panel, Lisa, and to share thoughts today with the community of interest. My name is Gerald Augur. I am the chief, I have a couple of hats, actually. I'm the cybersecurity content manager here at Haiku, which is essentially an organization that's developing games that train cybersecurity skills, which is really, really interesting. It's not just gamified, but it's actually using learning engineering techniques pioneered by Carnegie Mellon University in order to have stickiness for some of those hands-on keyboard skills. I also have a Ph.D. in cyber operations, so I've been working in the field and studying the field for 20 years. And through my efforts at Simply Cyber, another organization that I work with, we are helping people break in and learn skills and pivot into industry. So I really love the field of information security, and I love looking at it from different perspectives with different lenses in order to help people who are coming from different backgrounds or businesses with different needs and sizes, frankly, in order to ultimately address some of the cybersecurity challenges that we're facing right now in 2023.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. And Aaron, we'll have you wrap us up.
All right. Great. Thanks, Lisa. My name is Aaron Wyant. I am the president of Dispatch Tech. We started Dispatch Tech back in 2008. Back then, cybersecurity wasn't as big as it is now. We do today we do cybersecurity, CMMC compliance. For the DoD contractors, and we also have even a help desk. We have clients all over the nation. We have clients in Hawaii, Arizona, Virginia, Seattle, and our base clientele is right here in San Diego. Over the last 3 years, we've started a new program by bringing in internships into our program, and that's been one of the best things we've ever done as far as hiring new staff. All our interns have never quit. They all stay on and become hired. Or I should rephrase that. All the interns that we've hired on have never quit. Our interns that do come through our program and don't get hired on do land jobs other places. So they really love it. We have a robust cybersecurity program that we've created that aligns with CMMC, because of a big percent of our companies are CMMC contractors. We offer things like employee training, application whitelisting, encryption, and more. We have a lot of great ways to help secure your employees if they're working from home or if they're traveling. This is very important. And most are, like I was saying before, most of our clients are DoD subcontractors, but we do handle all types of businesses. We have all kinds of programs to help, even if it's to come in as what we call a VCSO, where we come and help assist. So we can help a huge company that already has IT staff in place, and we come in as a VCSO and kind of give them advice and make sure they have application whitelisting. Do they have the right training programs? And if they're missing those tools, they can reach out to us and we can help, get those tools for them. And we're also excited to say one of our interns just received a CCP, which is a certified CMMC professional, which is really great to say. He's been an employee of ours for last year now. His name's Raven, and myself, I'm on that journey too. So now we can do audits for the government. So we're pretty excited.
Awesome. Yes, we're very grateful to Dispatch Tech for being one of the first members of the Cyber Hire program, which was a really great program we launched with the San Diego Workforce Partnership here in the region to get underserved populations and students into the cyber talent pipeline. So thank you, Aaron. Well, awesome. Well, let's kick off our discussion with the cyber trends we're seeing this year. From AI-driven social engineering to ransomware as a service, to major changes in the insurance market. So Asaf, what are you seeing as the key threats that all businesses should have on the radar now?
Well, Lisa, you mentioned two of them, but this is AI, which of course is everybody talking about AI today, and the other one is social engineering, and they actually connect together. So when we start with AI, we can simplify it. It's the same. AI is a tool that we are using, right? In the day-to-day, it helps us do things faster and more efficient. So as we use this tool, hackers are also use this tool. It means that it's accelerate the time for them to find vulnerabilities, to perfect their attacks, but also to make attacks available to more or less technical people or to less technical people. That means that if in the past we were seeing highly skilled people, and there was a highly skilled people in the profile of attackers, we start to see it already a few years to start to see more and more tools available to less skilled people. And now with AI, it will be accelerating. Now, for the social engineering, that's the one that I would say that needs to be looked by every business, because all these attacks that we see in social engineering becoming more and more sophisticated. If they can use AI to learn about the target, the way that you write the email, for example, another, if they send you, let's say they send you a phishing email. In the past, you could see that something is wrong about the email. This is not how my CEO writes an email or somebody. Now they can train on information that they have, like the video that we have today. They can train on your voice. They can train on your way of speaking, and they can put it. So I would say that social engineering is a big problem, and we see it even when we are protecting apps. We see a lot of consumer being tricked through different text messages that tricks them to install different things and the usual things. That's a major concern, I believe.
Absolutely. It's getting scary. We have a briefing series with the FBI, and they have this fabulous video that they put on where it's just someone sitting in their living room getting all the information on the CEO's wife, and then able to connect into the husband and get everything they need to send an email that ultimately creates a major change in their stock price, not in the good way. So absolutely, you're definitely hitting on, I think, the beginning of those scary movies we've all seen. So
Lisa,
Lisa, it's not just-
if I may, I actually had a follow on to what he is saying that I think is really interesting. So just last week, Mandiant released a report around AI, and they had some of their senior threat intelligence analysts kind of positing on the different ways. And what we just talked about, definitely AI and social engineering, the capabilities, and there is another dimension of AI that can write malware, and they're breaking through some of the guardrails around that. But a really compelling technique that I saw that I hadn't considered is, when we train our end users to look at certain behaviors, certain things, like Asaf said, that's not how the CEO talks. Well, another thing we look at is, like this account, and you go look at it, and it was created yesterday, and it's got no content. There's nothing beneath it besides the facade or the veneer. Well, with AI, you can have AI generate thousands of unique, interesting social media posts, and then have AI create you a fake profile photo and a fake background. And then you can schedule that using AI and other, web tools to basically just farm these personas. And we as, basically cyber defenders can leverage it in order to build SOC accounts, to be able to go into the dark web and interface with criminals and not be concerned. But I think the bigger risk here is clearly threat actors developing these personas, both for malicious intent, for financial gain or these type of things, as well as we saw it wildly in 2016 U.S. elections, but for pushing narratives, misinformation campaigns, propaganda, where you'd have tens of thousands of real people liking and echoing and amplifying certain narratives. So I think that's a bigger, another concern to give credence to, and one to think about as we move forward into what we've said we live in the information age. I'm firmly planting my flag that in March 2023, we shut that door and we opened the AI age, because we're not putting it back in the toothpaste tube.
Exactly. Oh, great thoughts. Well, one of the other items, San Diego is a defense town. And according to SD Max annual military economic impact report, the San Diego defense industry represents now a quarter of our regional economy. And these government contractors are now required to comply with increasing cybersecurity standards. So, Aaron, what do you recommend for the small businesses here in our region working to meet these cybersecurity maturity model certifications, or CMMC, as well as NIST 800 standards? And since the other, 3/4 are on the non-defense side, what can non-defense companies learn from these models that will likely matriculate into other industries in our region?
Yeah, with the new rulemaking now, it's actually going into effect really soon now, and it's going to be coming up on the new contracts in 2025, most likely in Q1 to Q4, they're saying. And if you haven't started the CMC process, you better do it now. If not, you're going to be so far behind, because it's limited to how many people can run audits. And it's not just something you can put in place and say, here's CMMC, it's in place, we're good to go. No, it's an ongoing process. Back in the day, they used to call it NIST, and you could go out there and you could say, hey, I'm NIST compliant. Okay, I tested myself. Well, with CMC, you don't test yourself. Someone has to come out and actually test you. A third party comes out, they test you. And if you are missing one of the controls, you fail. And it's that simple. And so you need to find someone who really knows how to be CMC compliant and how to get you there. Find a company that's doing the research, that have CCPs on staff and CCAs on staff that actually know the controls, not just RPs and RPOs, because you want someone who really knows the controls and can go through them just like an audit. And it's good to, like you're saying, other companies that don't have CMC too, you need to have some kind of compliance program in place, because, you go into a new company and you we go into them all the time and we see them, and they don't have anything in place, and everybody has the same password across the board. It's very scary. They make it really easy basically for hackers. And if you're not following a compliance program, hackers can come in, fairly quickly and just take over your company. So, you want to get with a good CMC, have a good compliance program, and make sure you follow it. Because, I notice a lot of people, when they don't follow a compliance program, they're afraid to make change. They're like, they go to someone's been there for 20 years and say, hey, I need you to change your password and make sure you're doing it. They're like, sure. But if you have a compliance program, you say, hey, we're following this program, or this is a program we're going to stick to. And then they'll look at you, and now they'll do it. They'll do it more than if you just tell them. So.
Yeah, plans, and more plans. Getting everybody to not just have them in place, but to exercise them and to make sure backups actually exist and can be brought online when necessary as well. So, well, thank you so much, Aaron. Well, CCOE and EDC recently conducted a survey of local businesses to identify the challenges and opportunities facing our region. This is a little plug. Stay tuned for the full economic impact study that will be releasing in October, but I'll give you a little sneak peek, and probably not surprising to those on this call. We continue to find talent as the #1 pain point for the industry. So, Gerry, how can employers evolve job recs to cast a wider net, and what criteria should they be focused on?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. This is a really complicated, simple question that has a unusually complicated answer that I'll try to boil down as best I can. It really kind of has a couple different factors. Number one, HR and the hiring managers need to be in better concert with each other, because HR is really good at HR, and that's fine, and that's what their service is, but they're not cybersecurity people. So when they are saying you need this skill, this skill, this skill, they aren't really enabled to understand if that's appropriate, if this core SOC skill and this core red team skill, which nobody really would have both for various reasons, doesn't make any sense. So you got to be in better concert with the hiring manager. And then I look at the hiring manager and also say, hey, you need to be real with what you need. And I know that that's like kind of a harsh thing to say, but unfortunately, a lot of times cybersecurity needs, especially if it's not a cyber person, right? Maybe it's just a CIO trying to hire one person because they're trying to get CMMC compliant and have somebody accountable, right? So they hire someone and they just copy paste some unicorn list off of the internet. And then it's, entry level with 30 years of experience in a technology that's only existed for 2 years, all these different degrees. So I think people need to take a moment and pause and think, what do I actually need? Do I need someone who's good at governance, risk, and compliance? Do I need someone who can do education and training? Can I outsource it? Maybe to dispatch tech. I don't know. Do we need someone in-house who understands more of the engineering side and comes from the IT background to do that? Backups, like you had just mentioned, Lisa, right? So, be deliberate, be thoughtful. What do you actually need, instead of just slapping out something and hoping you get a cyber hire? That doesn't do anything. Then I would add, be real about, this isn't 1955, like, with all due respect, like, it's not anybody with a bachelor's degree is qualified and everybody without a bachelor's degree is not qualified. That doesn't work in the modern era, especially with the way higher ed pricing has worked and the way people have different paths and different learning opportunities. So be real about where people are actually educated and what skills they have. And I bring that up because of, Haiku. Haiku is a platform that can train people and give them the skills for practical hands-on skills that isn't the same as going to a 4-year college. In fact, it's more expeditious. And I work in the industry. I hire people. I know the other two panelists do as well. Here's the thing. As a hiring manager, like, if you have a degree or not, that's fine. If you have certifications or not, that's fine. Can you solve my problem? I have a pain point. I need hands on keyboard. I need help now. Can you do that? And if you can, that's very appealing. That's very interesting to me as a hiring manager. So getting those skills are critical. But at the end of the day, the business has to understand that those skills can be earned and developed in various methods. And that's cool. And then be real with what you actually need. So you're pinpointing the skills you need to solve the problem you have so you can move forward with business.
Yes, I think that's we've heard a lot in the survey. We need to be looking at skills versus credentials. And I will say, Haiku is a lot of fun. We've used it in CCOA programs for workshops with Girl Scouts as young as age, 8 to 9 years old, to be able to really get in and start getting their hands on the keyboard and getting experience all the way up to pro, which allows those that are, looking to potentially transition from other IT roles into the cybersecurity realm as well. So it's a great product, a great fun tool that, again, is not a gamified training. It is a video game that trains. So for all of you who like to put on your hacker hoodies and get with your keyboard, it's a lot of fun for to jump in on a Saturday afternoon. So, one of the other areas that continues to be a pain point is cost, often cited as one of the biggest digitalization and cybersecurity challenges for small to medium-sized businesses. So Verimatix provides security solutions that protect content, apps, APIs, websites, and devices, across industries, as you mentioned, from cyber threats. How has baking cybersecurity into their helped with their ROI?
Yeah, so I'll just start with to comment on the previous question that connects to that one.
Please.
Because I think that we said the most problem is that there is not enough people that are trained and they can do. And this is where we, as a company that build a solution, we are building the products. I think all the companies that build cybersecurity solution have the responsibility to look at how their solution not just secure the business that it comes to protect, but how its impact on it financially and in terms of the workforce. And this is where we think at Verimatix that there is security, of course, it's given, but there is things that you need to have the solution that will not put an impact on the customer in terms of, okay, now I need to hire somebody else. Now I need to train somebody else to just work with your new product. It really needs to be non-invasive into the business that you're coming to protect. Because if you're coming to protect the business, but also don't slow down the business. And believe it or not, that is more difficult sometimes than providing security. I sometimes say providing security is easy, all right? Providing security that does not affect the customer in a way that will slow them down or will impact their ROI in terms of the cost that they have is very important. And now just for the second part of the question, I can give one example of how we impact the return of investment directly. So some of our customers is big telecommunications that they have a lot of theft of IP and content. And sometimes, and what's interesting today with the hackers that they evolve, they don't even, when they steal, let's say, video or live streaming, in the past, they had to redistribute it, which has a cost for them. Now they hack into the telecommunication servers and they distribute it from their own machines, which means that the telecommunication companies are paying the CDN cost and the delivery of the video cost. Delivering video is actually quite expensive, but they are paying the cost of delivering to the pirates' customers. So by identifying that, and shutting down these illegal streams, not only that we protect the IP and of course loss of revenue, because security is mostly about loss of future revenue. Here we are actually cutting their bills in terms of distributing content. We found out in some customers 30% of their video traffic is piracy, and they are paying for that, delivering that content. So this is how a solution can immediately affect their ROI.
That's incredible and terrifying. And I know we've talked to other folks, that look at the kind of the small businesses and those that are looking to raise funds. And truly, cybersecurity has now been as important as their business plans when they're looking to raise funding and their opportunity. Because if you don't have a product or a service that you can protect, as you guys have all mentioned today, unfortunately, you're quite in the crosshairs. So thank you very much, Asaf. That was a great example. And again, very scary. So, we're kind of going into the tinfoil hat portion of the discussion as well. IBM's data breach report reveals that an alarming 83% of organizations experienced more than one data breach in 2022. And attacks are only getting more sophisticated with the evolving AI that we're talking about today. So Aaron, what are some immediate cyber hygiene and planning measures all businesses can take to better prepare for the when, no longer the if?
Yeah, great, scary number. 83%. That's crazy. That's crazy. First, you want to train your employees. Train them about AI. Most employees don't even know about it. They don't realize what you put in AI too, if they're using it. Other people could have access to that data. So never put anything confidential. Training is super important. Use something like Haiku to go in there and get that training that you need. I think that sounds awesome. I can't wait to get my kid on that one too. I have a 10-year-old son, and he wants to download all this stuff for his games. I'm like, well, you got to make sure it's safe first.
I will tell you, my 10-year-old son was one of the testers for Haiku and has a blast, and now teaches everyone around him that nothing is safe. So
That's fine. And then, AI can be used also to, weaponize the hackers. Everything from viruses can be made just in the blink of an eye now. They don't even have to know anything about how to program. They can just say, hey, I want to hack this company. They type that in, they say, okay, this don't work. What else can I do? And it'll just keep giving them information. They can make code. They can, call the front desk. They can copy their voices, which is scary. They can start recording voices and they answer, hey, this is the boss. That's even more scary. It's going to get pretty crazy. There was a story of there was a lady, her granddaughter, I think, her son called in, and it sounded just like them, and they basically got her to wire money to these criminals that were using the voice of one of her grandkids. It's like, wow, scary. So make sure you have training, so people have proper training. Application whitelisting, if someone does get in, they usually want to run some kind of program on these computers possibly. And there's a bunch of other programs you can put on there to help protect these guys. But training is the biggest thing I think you can do to help, and the employee, the user is 80% of the hacks that go on too, whether it's an employee or maybe something misconfigured. So another thing I would recommend is, run a vulnerability scan. I don't know how often you guys run those, but it's good to have, like a third party come out and check your work. Just like CMMC, it's having someone else come out and check your work to make sure the vulnerabilities are patched. This is a great way to, keep the hackers from exploding some data. We've had some new clients, that come in and, you look at what they've done, you're like, wow, there's a lot of stuff that we need to do to fix this. It's amazing how people just, if someone's real smart, they assume they already know about cybersecurity. So you got to make sure you have the cybersecurity professional and have a third party come out there and check your work.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron. I always say, people are the weakest link, but they're also the strongest defense. And so training is absolutely critical, and regular training, annual training. As we know, you can't just teach your kids once not to run with scissors. It's the regular trip, the day-to-day that makes sure that everybody remembers, don't click on the Nigerian Prince emails anymore. So, and, kind of on that theme, people for our audience that is ready to join the fight, from transitioning service members to students interested in a career in cybersecurity to those seasoned IT professionals that just have their sights on the next level. Gerry, how do you recommend they get started?
Yeah, that is a good question, because I have been seeing through my Simply Cyber efforts that just there's a massive migration of people wanting to get into cyber. I mean, obviously there's a lot of opportunity. It's become very mainstream as not as a storyline, but as as a concept of modern living. And people love it. And frankly, I love it too. So I get what they're up to. What I would say is, whether you're transitioning, whether you're just graduating, two things. One, like, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. Like, I can tell you definitively, because I've interviewed them and published these videos on my channels, like mechanic to cyber, stay-at-home mom to cyber, obviously military service member, heavy machine operator, like school teacher, everyone can do it. Okay. What you need to do is understand two things. One, you don't need to restart your whole career, right? Like, whatever you've been doing for 10, 15, 20 years, whether you're a tank mechanic in the Marine Corps or you're a stay-at-home parent, like, you have transferable skills to be able to levy into a cyber career. Yes, you do have an uphill climb. Yes, you're going to have to learn networking and operating systems to some fundamental level, but don't think that you're, wiping the dry erase board completely clean and starting fresh. So that's the first thing, just from a mental perspective. Secondly, as we referenced earlier, practical skills really reign supreme. So if you're looking to shortcut the on-ramp into getting into cyber, I would encourage you to focus on those practical skills. Now, there are some certifications that are widely bandied about in the industry as entry-level certs that will become HR blockers if you don't have them. So I'm not saying there's no value in them, but by getting practical skills, by getting hands on keyboard, you can study like what is networking or what is operating system or what is a pen test or whatever, but actually sitting there and hacking away at it and getting that muscle memory and seeing how the things connect and how, doing this causes that, that will really, drive your learning because it'll make you learn in a different way, and B, it'll be practical because when you're talking to someone at an interview or at a mixer or wherever, you're going to be saying the right things. It's not like you're just referencing concepts and definitions that you read in a book somewhere that you don't really have the deeper understanding of why these things happen or how they interface. And again, like a product like Haiku, this is exactly what we're targeting, exactly how we're doing it. There are two platforms. You mentioned it earlier, Lisa. There is World of Haiku and there is Haiku Pro. For people just transitioning in, World of Haiku was actually built for those people in order to get them right up and running. Within 20 minutes, you already understand how to operate a Linux command line. You're already starting to understand some core fundamental concepts and get you on your way into moving into those deeper concepts and deeper learning. So yeah, definitely a world of opportunity there. Practical skills is going to be where you want to focus.
Absolutely. At this point, too, folks need someone that can get onto the computer and work immediately. But there are some great programs as well within the region. CyberHire, I mentioned, which Dispatch Tech, Haiku, and Verimatix have all participated in that. If you're interested, provide opportunity for students to be able to get some mentoring, training, assistance with certifications through employer-approved academic programs in the region. So we welcome all to the fight. We need as many hands on deck, I think, at this point, particularly now that the industry is shifting so dramatically with evolving AI, as we discussed today. So great discussion. We're just about out of time. So I'll ask each of you what piece of advice that San Diego companies really need to know about navigating cyber threats, solutions, and workforce needs. So why don't we go ahead and Asaf, we'll start with you.
Well, after we said about all these frightening things about AI and what's going on, I want to be a little bit optimistic and put things in proportion. Yes, it is scary and dangerous, but for older audience, maybe they remember that in the year of 2000, there was an email that was a worm that called I love you, or the I love you letter. And think about it, at that time, it's affected and took down 10% of the connected devices in the world. 10%. There is no attack today that is parallel to what it did. And at that time, people were saying that's the end of internet, that's the end of, but the industry came with a solution to that. And what we see today is also a disruptive technology that the AI, and that is being used to do bad things, but it's also being used to do good things. It's used to help simplify things. It's help also identify the product of an AI to protect the businesses. So as developing products, my message is, yes, it is scary what the bad guys can do with AI, but remember that the same technology is being used by the good guys that building products. And at the end of the day, it will reach a balance the same way that in the year 2000, we thought it's the end of the world, and it was not. Also today, this will not be the end of the world, and we'll keeping companies and businesses secure.
Awesome. Thank you. Gerry, we'll have your final thought as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I love the optimism. Like it's kind of inspiring me in my thoughts as I was reflecting on what he was saying there. I agree 100%. Like going back the year 2000, like, and Asaf made the joke at the very beginning about it was called security when he got in the game. we as an industry have matured substantially in the last 23 years since I Love You Bug, right? And Melissa Virus and all these other fun ones. So because we have matured, because we have become more mainstream, because we are socially acceptable, right? For lack of a better term, in the business world, we are integrated with the business. We are a cost center, although I will be using that ROI for the piracy in every briefing I do from here on out in my life. We have matured, and we're also able to get training for specific roles. So it's not just like the IT person also does cyber now. You can get specialized training for applications, for networking, for, you know, mobile devices even, right? Or, you know, you can really get specialized if you want to get right into it for, you know, larger companies. But my point is, the skills that people need are accessible to people who need them, and businesses that are hiring or businesses that are actually serious about securing their business, whether it's for CMMC compliance so they can get that huge contract, or it's because their risk appetite is low and they realize most likely they suffered a real incident. Now the burn is there and they don't want any more scars. They can get the help that they need, tailored and focused for their particular needs, whether it's industry, business size, budget, frankly. So that's to me optimistic that, you know, as we grow, as we build the workforce, as people get skilled up, it's nice to know that in 2023 and beyond, businesses will have access to the right resources to actually help them meaningfully reduce cyber risk.
That's awesome. I love the silver linings here. So Aaron, we'll send it over to you.
Great stuff today, and thanks for having us. I would say consider having a third party come in and independently access your work. See how your IT staff stands now. Have them run, and then also continually run vulnerability scans. To identify these potential risks. It's not because there's always something that comes and there's always changes, and you want to make sure you're always identifying the risk. Training, is obviously one other thing too. The training is huge. Train. You can't say it enough. But yeah, and running a vulnerability scan. We have some really tools. We work with really great tools for running vulnerability scans. We work with a third party, and they've helped us make our security way better, and we can help you too.
Fabulous. And one of CCOE's programs that we actually run with the municipality, City of San Diego, City of Carlsbad, and Vista, we actually offer small businesses free vulnerability scans to get you started. So that way, you got to lock your doors. You got to make sure that your house is the harder one to get into than the neighborhood. So we greatly appreciate all of the fabulous insights today. Asaf, Gerry, Aaron. It was a fabulous discussion today, and we invite businesses and job seekers to visit CCOE's website at sdccoe.org for more information and free resources for the community. We thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to the next San Diego Business Journal Cyber Trends panel discussion this fall. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.